Hi, I'm Bran, and I love When Calls the Heart.
Hi, I'm Jax, and I like When Calls the Heart.
I'm Dan, and I despise When Calls the Heart. And this is the Deck the
Hallmark
Hallmark
Podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast.
We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Well, we got the studio all ready for Jax.
Yeah.
We had her
ready
welcome
to go.
basket that she demands.
She
her
does send a rider ahead of time.
lukewarm
that is
water.
Very specific. Yeah, tap water.
And
but
then
has to be a 7.4
you say,
pH, which we have to do the strips to test it, of course.
You say I'm gonna just Skype in today.
That's right. A gallon of country French dressing, and one of those big milkshake straws. That's what she says. I don't even know what that means, but I'm a little disgusted.
So what
Talk to
gives?
Sheila about it. She'll get it. No, guys, I had some flight trouble.
Oh, no.
Thanks a lot, Delta. Delta, if you want to reach out to me to make it up to me,
That's right.
you can.
Yeah.
But Ted tried to fly me down, and unfortunately, it didn't work out this time.
Are
So this
you
is the first
besmirching
time
the
in-
name of Delta?
Yeah, of all the airlines, you went with Delta. Interesting. Fantastic.
I've had nothing but good things with them in the past, and I just wish that they would reach out to me
Except
to
You've
make up for
had
it.
nothing but good things.
Except
what does that even
Except for
mean?
this last incident.
Except
it's been
for
all
this-
good. It's been all gravy.
Except for this very real flight
That got-
that
they just
Delta
said-
done goofed up.
That's right.
And if they did want to reach out, I'm happy to do a Queen of Sparkles post style.
Yeah.
Where they give me a free flight.
To
I'm
be
just
fair,
saying.
though, this is 2.5 seasons where Ted has flown you successfully. 2 seasons and 2 episodes, 25-ish episodes.
I'm sure we'll have it figured out by
Yeah.
next week.
By next week, I feel
Yeah,
like we're going to be good.
definitely.
You're due one week of travel that doesn't
There's
work.
no way Delta goofs up next week.
No way Delta
No.
twice in a row.
Twice in a row. Delta, a very real airline.
Man, if for some reason
Well,
they
he-
goofed up every week, by the
That
end,
would-
this would be just like a Delta Sucks podcast.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Well, Ted said next time he'll just fly me private.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Wow.
Have you ever flown private?
Have you ever flown pilot?
Have you ever flown private
Have
before,
you ever
Jax?
flown, pilot? Are you a pilot? Yeah.
Bran, I am overwhelmed with how fancy you think
That's
I
right.
am that you would ask that question. Now, am I deflecting because I have flown private and I don't want to say yes? Oh, no, I have not.
Okay.
Have you guys?
No. That
Just-
would be great.
Are you
Well, I will
by,
say
hey,
this.
real quick, are you by your window?
I am.
All right.
Yeah. Manhattan. That's
Might
Manhattan.
be why I
That
think
ain't-
you've
that
flown
ain't-
pilot. You've flown pilot.
That is
Private.
not. That is
Oh, no,
not.
you probably can't see. That's
That is not Queens out there,
No,
ladies and
sir.
gentlemen. That is Manhattan.
That's private flying.
That's right. Yeah. If you're watching Philo.tv/DTH, you can feel also like you're a high roller
Yes.
by watching.
That's
through
true.
Jack's
The
window.
wonderful thing about Philo is that you can watch TV and feel like you are somebody who flies pilot.
You'll
That
get there.
flies private.
How is it that hard?
I don't know. I think I'm in my
Flies
head.
Pilot.
Let me get through this bit though. Let me get through this bit.
That's right. Go ahead.
You can feel like you're flying private, but at a very, very affordable price.
At coach prices.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I will say this: when Good Morning America flew us up in November of 2018, I know that it was just a regular old airline and we were in coach, but it was a direct flight from GSP.
Yeah.
And we were picked up at the airport and driven to Times Square. That may as well have been
Yeah.
private.
That was magical.
That we
Oh,
would,
yeah.
we were
You
thinking.
basically flew private to Florida.
I did. I
You want to
flew
shout out another
a little
airline?
airline called Silver Airlines. When I say little, I mean it. The plane had propellers. There was a guy dressed up in a full 3-piece suit to fly on this flight. I thought we were going to see ashtrays.
How many people? 30?
There were 11 rows. There was one flight attendant.
What was her name?
The pilots went by their first names. They were like, "Hi, I'm Sam. I'm going to be flying you through the friendly skies." I think we topped out at 12,000 feet. And when we landed, instead of saying flight attendants, prepare the cabin for landing, They literally said, Shonda, you can sit down. I'm not. That really happened. None of that story has any embellishment. Maybe the 12,000 feet. That is how we flew from Greenville to Tampa. And you know what? Aside from feeling like I was going to die every step of the way, it was wonderful. We took off early, landed early. Everyone was kind, but boy, did I feel like I had gone back in time somehow. It's called Silver Airlines, Bran. They didn't even go for the gold. They're the second place of airlines. They're like, we can name our airlines anything. Well, what about second place? Yeah, that's pretty good. We don't want to give anybody the wrong impression here.
And we're not Southwest.
We're not. Yeah.
Gold.
Let's say
standard.
what we are. We're second place. We couldn't get a Delta flight. Let's go with the silver medal of airlines. Silver Airlines. Shonda, if you could go ahead and sit down and buckle up.
Sit down, pal.
I'm not joking. I went to the bathroom during this flight. This is dead serious. And the flight attendant was sitting by the only restroom on board, and she said, I need to let you know the captain has turned on the seatbelt sign. So if you go in there, it's of your own volition. She said that to me. Like, you need to know you're not going to sue us. You're not going to sue Silver
Fool me once.
Airlines. He turned it on. And right by that no seatbelt sign was the no computers or iPods logo.
Yeah. No iPods.
There was an iPod with a line through it. Upon takeoff, put your Zooms and your iPods away, please. You're flying silver.
Yeah.
That actually all happened. And I made it. I lived to tell the tale. I told no one until we landed because I was terrified. But you know what? They were kind and we got there early. So there's that.
Speaking of iPods, go ahead.
I wonder what Shonda, sorry, I just had a follow-up. Yeah. I wonder what Shonda would suggest you do, because already the seatbelt sign is off. So do you make your way back to your seat, or do you just sit in the lavatory? Or what is
No. We got up to 8 feet or whatever the cruising altitude was, and they turned the seatbelt sign off. And then we hit some turbulence, probably a cloud. And so they turned the seatbelt sign back on. Well, I mean, whatever. I'm still going to go to the bathroom. But on this, I've done that on Delta flights before. On this flight, she was like, I just need to let you know the seatbelt sign is on. So if you're doing this, you've assumed all of the risk.
I'm going to need you to sign a
It's on you,
man.
man.
There was a notary back there stamping the thing for me to go to the bathroom.
Throw her out.
It was wild out there.
Speaking of iPods real quick, Scott Newman gave me a red iPod at Bramblefest loaded to the brim with Christmas-only songs.
Man, what a guy.
And it's awesome. And I missed the iPod. I didn't realize how much I missed the iPod. There's something about the circular motion of finding the perfect track.
Silver Airlines thinks they're making a comeback.
Yeah, let's get ahead of this. Yeah. Let's get ahead of this. Brand got one.
Yeah.
Scott Newman, I want one. Are you just giving them out?
Well, come on Christmas morning.
That's right. Ooh.
I
was about to say, yeah.
When have I ever
you tried to guilt Jax into saying no to a
Jax
podcast.
Has been Jax. I have been asking her to come on Christmas morning for years, and she keeps saying no.
Yeah. My schedule doesn't work out.
That's what she's always saying no.
Yeah. Jax will not sleep now until she's on Christmas morning.
I know. Oh my God.
Oh, well, what are you doing?
I'm
tomorrow?
ready whenever you want.
When Calls the Heart season 10 episode 2.
Thanks for letting me get my whole Type 5 in.
That was really good.
Thank you. I've been working on it for the clubs. Thank you.
It was really good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. A little fine tuning, but we'll get it there.
Hope Springs is what it's called. It originally aired on the Hallmark Channel on August 6, 2023, and it went a little something like this. Bill is happy. He is spry. All thanks to the hot springs. And he goes to pick up a package from Ned's, and more on that later. Actually, I don't actually think I write down what it is, to be honest.
I don't know what it was.
I don't remember what it is. Jax, what's in the package?
Is it a swimsuit?
I assumed it was a sexy swimsuit.
Okay, we'll get to the sexy swimsuit. Don't you worry. Elizabeth's aunt and sister are coming in from out of town, and Lucas is nervous because they haven't met before. The aunt immediately gives Lucas a hard time. Funny, haha. Lee is excited about a potential business deal. Rosemary's like, Lee! And then she is also happy to be helping with some wedding planning. Finally, now that she's been asked formally to be the matron of honor. It comes out that Bill hasn't been letting the kids swim in the hot springs because he's saying it's not safe, which is interesting, seeing as how he spends every waking moment in the hot springs. Nathan goes to May's house, or to get the May's shop, prescription spot with ice cream, to get a prescription filled, and May realizes that he went out of town to see another doctor. Ugh. Can you believe this guy? To avoid Faith. Rosemary comes to Elizabeth's rescue during wedding planning when her aunt and sister come in hard with some dumb wedding dress ideas. The nerve. The women catch Bill in his jail cell swimsuit at the hot springs, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not here. Don't look at me." We know who was looking at him, though. Jax.
Oh, yeah.
That was the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. Is your oh yeah about Bill Avery's swimsuit? God,
Do you think Jack Wagner's totally creeped out by this, or like
he
kind
should
of turned
be.
on?
He should be.
Yeah, he's a big time listener.
It's women, am I right, Brand?
No. Not gonna trick me. Not gonna trick me.
Chauvinistic. Just
Jail cell, big fun time hot boy. And he's like, "I'm not here," but he actively tries to shut down any conversation about it being used as a tourist destination. Bill, a man of the people. Aunt Agatha wants to school Lucas in poker, and Elizabeth's sister, I know her name, wants to tell her that, hey, your parents would love it if you would go ahead and think about moving back to Hamilton.
No!
Going back to Hamilton.
No! 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 No!
Gowan seems to be committed to ruining his life and doesn't seem interested at all in getting his case dismissed. Despite the fact that it seems like it'd be pretty easy to get his case dismissed. He's like, "No, thank you.
Guilty.
I'm guilty." Faith gets robbed on a horse. And
I wasn't sure if you knew what word you were going to say there.
I robbed. Faith gets robbed on a horse and carriage ride to pick up materials, but luckily Nathan shows up to scare that guy off. But unfortunately, Faith goofs up and falls off the carriage, but luckily Nathan is there to catch her.
Yeah.
So yay. Everybody starts showing up at the hot springs, and everybody at the hot spring getting tipsy.
Everybody in the club going hot springs.
Aunt Agatha puts the hard sell on Elizabeth to try to convince her to move back to Hamilton, that teaching is below her now, and Lucas needs to fly. Like fly in Hamilton, where he can fly. Gowan pleads guilty, and everyone's mad at him, and Gowan just kind of limps off. And that, my friends, was When Calls the Heart, Season 10, Episode 2, Hope Springs Eternal.
We did it.
100 episodes.
Oh, that was the 100th.
That was this.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't touched, we can go back. But
I mean, we've done. You and I.
We're creeping in on 1,000.
We are
episodes. Yeah. That means 1/10 of them have been When Calls the Heart episodes. That doesn't sound right. Well, I feel like we've done more than that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It does probably feel like that, doesn't it?
Yes. I need to go through.
I feel kind of icky that it's 1/10 of our catalog.
I need to go through our uploads and because there's a couple that are like promoting like Gabble and whatnot that's coming out. So to see how many episodes we actually are, because 1,000 episodes.
We should celebrate.
We should celebrate.
I know on the thing it's like 977 or 978.
Yeah, we're getting close,
but I don't think that's the actual count.
We'll do a peak. We'll do a peak. Let's do this. Let's take a break, and we'll come back and we'll break this episode down here on Deck the Hallmark.
Deck the Hallmark.
Deck the Hallmark.
Deck the Hallmark. Deck the Hallmark.
All right, everybody, dry off from the hot springs. It's time for. Oh no! No! Stop it! Let's get to the hot take. Let's share exactly how we felt about this episode, and I will start with Jax. Jax, what did you think of When Calls the Heart Season 10, Episode 2, Hope Springs?
Now that I've dried off, I have to say, so I thought that this was a great 100th episode. Let me say this: we're finally feeling the Hope Valley community vibes again. I'm having fun. Bill Avery's walking around looking like a snack. He's healing. He's making me want to go to the hot springs. I'm all in on that. And Agatha seems a little thirsty when it comes to Lucas.
Yeah.
And I'm also kind of like enjoying those interactions. I thought that the scene with Faith and the quote unquote bandit was absolutely hilarious. Like this little kid with like, when we were doing those, when we didn't know that masks were a thing yet, so we were all like doing bandanas over our faces, or at least that was happening in New York. He looked like that with like a fake. Did you guys do that in Greenville?
No.
You're sweet to think that we messed up.
That's adorable. Yeah.
Have you been here?
Yeah, no.
I wasn't trying to make any political commentary. It just reminded me of that.
I will say, the gator became a big thing down here.
Yes.
People were like, I'm not going to mask. I'll put a gator around my neck so you think I might pull it up over my nose.
So if I have to.
And then everybody's like, gators don't actually work. They don't do anything. And they're like, well, I mean, that's my point exactly.
Wait, can I ask what a gator is?
It's Gaiter gator, and it is that thing that is it looks like a tube top for your head. Like you keep it around your neck, you can just pull it up over your nose. Yeah.
Like biker. It's like big in Motor X. Like Motor X.
What are we doing?
They look really cool. People on Survivor wear them.
People on Survivor wear them.
Gators is what they're called.
Gators.
Yeah, gators.
So I feel like this episode was a lot of fun. We'll get into the things that made me nervous. Sheila is texting me that this episode was awful, so I guess she doesn't agree with me.
And can I tell you something about Sheila? She's right, as per usual.
I enjoyed it, you guys. And I will say what I've enjoyed even more than watching these episodes is the messages that I'm getting about When Calls the Heart. It's good to be back.
It is good to be back in a weird way. You know what? I'm giving myself over.
Oh my gosh.
Here
we go. We're at that point in the season where he's like going to force himself to believe again. And then in like episode 5, we're going to get this big rant. When Calls the Heart's back, baby. It's back. And let me tell you why. And then by 10, you're going to be like, life's over. It's meaningless. The show sucks. Why do you do this to yourself every season?
It's just kind of who I am. Here's the thing. Who is the showrunner? Who is the showrunner?
Crandall? Is it Crandall?
For When Calls the Heart?
Sheila Calloway would know this offhand.
Yeah, she's better.
She would. I'm surprised she hasn't texted.
Because Tinker's gonna tink, but he as a
Have you guys done the Tinker's gonna tink to the player's gonna play? Have you done that?
When you were in town, when Ted flew you to town.
Yes.
I was hearing that and I really wanted to hear you guys do it.
We're doing a new thing. God's doing it.
Lindsay Sturman.
Lindsay Sturman.
It's who's doing it.
What's great is Chat GTP did not know that.
GPT, however.
GPT. Chat
If you ever have flown pilot, you would know.
Scat GPT.
Yeah, you said GTP.
I always switch it up.
You do.
But they didn't know that, but Sheila did. Lindsay Sturman. Sturman's going to stir.
Sturman's going to stir.
Sturman's going to stir.
Yeah.
Stir in the pot. And I feel like what we have here is the making of a potentially delightful stew. Now we'll see. We will see what Sturman stirs up. But we are doing something. And for that, I tip my hat. I dip my toes in the spring. And I say, let's add some salt. Let's add some seasoning, maybe a little bit paprika.
Mm-hmm.
Paprika.
Make ourselves.
Hi, I'm Paprika. Nice to meet you.
Make ourselves a delicious stew. We're not there yet, but we're in the makings. Dan.
Show sucks. If you ever, Jax is always like very like adamant that she does have a take. She just chooses to find the positive even when she gives a negative take. If you ever wanted evidence to the contrary, listen to When Calls the Heart on Deck the Hallmark. Whereas somehow every episode, Jax is like, I liked this one. Every single one. And I don't know.
saying she lies?
I'm saying there's no possible way to like all 100 of these episodes in the way that Jax has done it and it be an actual take. That's what I'm saying. And Jax knows I love her. I love
Jax
her.
knows.
I do.
Jax
Me
knows.
But good
Jax
grief.
knows.
Guys, this is a mess, man. This is a mess. The dog scenes are the best scenes, and the dog just sits there. The dog doesn't do anything else. The dog just sits there. It doesn't know what it's doing. It's a spring. It's a hot spring. We're going to make it a tourist destination. We could go to Hamilton again. Guys, let's stop acting like this is a code red.
For the record, I want it on the record that Hamilton is not the paprika here. That would not be the
No.
season I would choose
I don't want to
for
go
this.
back to Hamilton.
Guys,
I don't want to go back
They
to
mentioned
Hamilton.
Hamilton. I had PTSD.
Yeah.
I was curling up in a ball. I would have rather died.
You'd rather
I'd
die. You'd rather die.
I'd rather flown Bronze Airlines.
Oh.
I don't want any part of this show anymore. It is brutal every single week, and I hate it. There we go.
Can I ask you, Dan, if you preferred this episode to last
That's
week's
a great
episode?
question.
We've got a stew.
No, and can I tell
it
you
was
why?
better.
No.
If we're gonna go slide on into
no.
the feels, because I have a feels this
All
week.
right,
I'll
let's
go
get to
first.
all the feels part of the show. We talk about what in this episode gave us those feels. All the feels. I guess we'll start with Dan in a weird
Last week,
weird change of
we
pace.
got some serious sparks with Elizabeth and Nathan.
Yeah.
In their scene together. And this week, not only do they not get a scene where they talk together, she does walk over to him at the Springs. You can feel that. But also, what are you laughing for? What are you?
Stop.
But also,
It's cruel what you're doing.
they're trying to put Faith and Nathan together. Faithin, as I call it, and there's no
More like
even
faking.
The name tells you how much chemistry they have. There's nothing there. He literally has to hold her. There's nothing there. There's nothing there at all. So from that alone, I think I'm going with episode 1 over this one. But you know when she sashays over to Nathan there at the Springs.
You stop. We don't even know if it's her. We see the back of her head.
I'm just saying.
We never
I'm just saying.
their two faces side by
This
side.
episode was an abomination. It was worse than last week's episode.
Jackson, he feels.
Yeah, I had a legitimate feel. Two big ones. When Rosemary saves the day by just being a charming, wonderful, charismatic, personable woman, I was absolutely and utterly
We need to put a
delighted.
limit. We need
Just
to
in
put a
every way.
limit on how many times you
Yes.
could use Rosemary
That's
as your
right.
feels this season. You've
Yeah.
already used it twice.
Yeah.
I think maybe 3 more times, and we're putting a cap on it.
But I do have one more. I do have
We'll
one more
allow
that's
it.
Bill Avery, and it's not going to be the sexy swimsuit. But when he says to Elizabeth, "You don't give up on people. It's your gift. Don't you forget it." I actually got a little legitimately emotional, which was nice because, to be honest, the show hasn't made me feel those kind of feels in a bit.
I want to see Jax on When Calls the Heart.
Me
That's
too.
what I want to see.
Well, it's one of the few productions that's a lot of work now. So, Sturman, give me a call. I'll happily go to Canada.
I feel like there's got to be a way to put her in. Like there's so many
What are we
scenes with so
doing?
many
Yeah.
people that don't.
Just
I mean,
put her
it's
in the
like-
Springs.
Yeah,
I would love to get in that hot
Yeah.
spring.
Yeah.
with Bill Avery, your character, of course.
Your character.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Your
Yeah.
character. He doesn't
Totally.
have
Nothing weird about
a
it.
real love interest right now.
The Springs.
The Springs is his mistress.
I think, do you guys think that I would get cast as
No.
his potential
Don't
love
think that you would be
I
cast as
don't
potential.
think-
I'd love it.
They would ever. I think it would be great. I would be so here for that plot line on When Calls the Heart. And I'm going to be kind here, 30-year age difference. Bill Avery has a new side piece, and she's 30 years younger than him, probably more like 35. Man, I just, boy.
Would watch.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Would
I
sure.
love that.
That's right.
Yeah, whatever. It's all good here. I will say, like, you guys remember old drugstores with ice cream and prescriptions?
Yeah.
I love those. Kind of was reminded of those in this episode. What other feels I have? Let's take a quick break. We'll go back. We'll get back here and we'll do the way it was.
Something's brewing in this stew
Something's
here.
brewing.
On Wind Calls the Heart. Babarika.
Something is potentially.
Pabrika. Pa and Ma Brika.
We'll be right back here.
Little Brika. There's Little Brika over there. Hey, Little Brika.
Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about Wind Calls the Heart Season 10, Episode 2. Let's get to the Wait What. That's what we're talking about what in this episode. I'm going to go Wait What, and I'll start with you, Jax.
So I know that Sturman's new and she's going to stir that pot. But why? When the fans have spoken, they do not want another love triangle. Why, oh, why, oh, why are we doing this weird thing with Faith, Nathan, and Hickam? Like, what the heck is happening?
Especially when Elizabeth and
Frickum.
Nathan's chemistry is through the roof. Sorry, go ahead.
No, Dan is giving Team Nathan what they want, and I'm here for it because I don't disagree. However, a couple of Hardys messaged me saying that they are excited about the potential of Faith and Nathan teaming up. So I am remaining open-minded and open-hearted, but I do not want whatever this mess is of like there's no romance happening.
Hold on. Are you not getting any messages about May?
Well, and I mean, no, I didn't get any messages about May
Because I'm way more Team May.
I actually thought when she walked into her shop and he was like sitting there, I'm like, I feel vibes too. Like I just don't understand why so much with Nathan and his romantic life seemingly happened off screen. And I'm confused as to what the heck is going on. Like, do you guys know, and why is Hickam all salty? What's happening?
The answer that Wind Calls the Heart has given to the McGarrys, who are still sour about what appears to be Team Lucas winning, is
appears to be.
We're
no ringing on that thingy.
There's no wedding yet. Okay, I want to be clear. So everybody hold out hope. Hold Doge to the moon. But I think their answer is what if we have Nathan at some point have a love interest with every other female in the town of Hope Valley?
Yes.
Will that make you feel better, McGarry's? And the answer is no, but at least that's what they're going with. Because it feels like that it's just a different girl every week.
And truly, if they were actually like having fun flirtiness, I'd be like, whatever, let's see what sticks. But it's all like angst and frustration.
Yes.
And I don't understand.
There's a spark with May, though.
Yeah.
There was.
I agree.
Yes. Chemistry is almost as good as Nate and Elizabeth this season.
This season. You're bad. You're a bad boy.
Guys, remember when she put the red surge on him?
Oh, boy, do I.
Yep. You remember when Bill put on the red surge?
Oh.
How could we forget?
I just dried off, Fran.
No.
Let's not go down that road.
Jax! No!
What?
Fran, you said it. You said
That's true.
Like you set
We're
me
in the
up,
hot
but
springs. Y'all made it weird. We're in the hot springs. Sheesh. My big wait what is what on earth was Faith thinking when she was getting thieved and Nathan shows up, gun drawn. She says, "Let me take matters into my own hand and do the make the horse go." I don't even really understand the physics that caused her to fall the way she fell into Nathan's arms. There was a gun drawn.
Yeah.
The guy was good. He was done. You didn't have to
do anything.
move the carts to just cause
I love that we're criticizing Faith here when this guy was barely a robber. Nathan introduced a gun, and like he really escalated things. And we're like, "Oh, this silly woman! How dare she try and like defend her own?"
That is not what I'm doing here. You stop it. You stop.
I'm just ramping you up.
There's a series of dumb things that happen in that scene, and I think there's plenty to go around. But once the gun is drawn, as dumb as that is, what Faith does is like, I call you're stupid and raise you stupid. I think she's so dumb. Once the gun, he shouldn't have drawn the gun.
Shouldn't have drawn the gun. But the gun's drawn at that point.
That kid didn't even have a gun in his jacket, and it was very clearly his hand. But once the gun is drawn, now we've got to de-escalate, and Faith's over here like pushing off of the wheel and doing a whole bit. It's a mess.
I think that it's very important to learn how to de-escalate dangerous situations, and clearly the people of Hope Valley have not learned how to do that.
You know, when Ted got really mad at Delta this week, and it started to get out of hand, and you had to be the bigger person to be like, it's okay. Delta's a great quality airline.
Especially if they give you some free tickets.
Like, for instance, the weekend that no one could get to New York after Bramblefest, the Sunday no one could get to New York. Who got Jax home?
Ted.
It was Delta.
Delta Airlines got Jax home.
Sorry,
that's who. Everybody else was sitting here for 48 hours. I don't know how she did it. I don't know how Delta did it. But Delta got Jax home. Everybody else going to New York.
And you wonder why I asked about flying private.
That's right.
There's some mystery magic
Brandon
going on
believed
here.
me when I was like, no, she took a Delta flight.
She's home.
That's what she said.
6 a.m.
Yeah, but nobody else did. But you were able to get home because of Delta. So
thank you, Delta.
That's right. Thank you, Delta Airlines. I think we made up for it. Did we do it? Okay, good.
Yeah, that's all, Dan.
So this dog that I already mentioned is the best part of the show is clearly very trained. And Nathan has the dog outside and is trying to do a bit where the dog, he's like, you want to go outside, but you're on the leash, you're not moving. And the dog's just sitting there because the dog's been trained to sit there. And then we pan over to a few of the women in Hope Valley who are like, he has his hands full with that dog. No, he doesn't. If you've ever had a dog before, having a trained dog is kind of the dream. Like, yeah, the dog is sitting, but he doesn't have his hands full of that dog. This is a really dumb comedic bit that's not landing. And if you want the dog to be crazy, you need to have the dog be crazy. I don't know what's going on there. I do want to point out, and this is my only other one for this episode because I was just trying to keep my eyelids open most of the way. Regardless of how we feel about the situation, what Henry Gowan did was a crime. Now, I could be saying this about any number of actions from any season pretty much of When Calls the Heart.
He killed the whole town.
But we're here in season 10. He's murdered the whole town.
Season 1.
He's covered it up. He's done financially really terrible things. This is not a good man. I understand that we're trying to push that agenda. But if this guy wants to plead guilty for destruction of property and lighting an entire oil mine on fire, then we need to let him. Because you know what? He's guilty of those things. So let's let him actually be guilty of those things. How hard is that to do? Just once When Calls the Heart. Let him actually see a consequence for his actions. One time.
He's hot.
Well, and honestly, Dan, to that point, like, I know that When Calls the Heart, and I love this about When Calls the Heart, is very much like forgiveness. But you can have forgiveness and also have justice. And I think that would be really great if they actually they were like, we forgive you. You can, try your best to lead a good life now. But there should be justice for that. Yeah. Like, what the heck?
And he never has seen any. He's never seen any justice ever. Mm-mm. And it's absurd to me.
Like Jax was about to lead us into an altar call.
That's right.
I started talking about de-escalating violent situations. I'm turning into a different podcast right now. Mm-hmm. But yes.
Let's
that's good.
All the time.
God's good. Amen.
Let's talk about hopes and valleys.
I was
what's
ready
giving
for
us
calling my heart over here. I forgot we had another dumb segment.
What's giving us hope for the future and or maybe bumming us out, Jax?
I have a lot of hope for the future about what Hope Springs is going to bring. I think maybe some new characters to town in season 11. If Brian Bird or anyone is listening to this podcast, I'm available. I think that
she can audition on tape. She can audition in person,
anywhere
Zoom. It doesn't really matter.
I can write my own fan fiction and perform it for you, whatever you like. So that's giving me a bit of hope. I'm also hoping that we see more from Joseph and Minnie. I feel like we saw a lot more of them in season 9, and I liked that, and I haven't quite seen enough of them in season 10 yet, so I'm hopeful of that. I also like that I do think Lucas is turning out to be a real stand-up guy, and I'm enjoying that. So I look, Team Nathan, I feel you for the pairing, but I still love Lucas. And I would say what's a Valley that's bumming me out is, yeah, I'm not sure. Just echoing what I said earlier, the potential to have another love triangle is making me hella nervous, and I just please don't do it. Please don't do it. Figure something else out.
So I was going to go into a bit of
interpretive movement.
No, just a bit of a monologue here about where I would like to see the show go. And you beat me to the punch here a little bit, Jax, because I think what we could do, we're 10 seasons into this show. The end of this season will be the end of a decade's worth of seasons of television. And I feel like we are potentially setting ourselves up for moving on with an old cast. We can do this. Move on with an old cast and bring in a new cast. Oof. What if we let Elizabeth and Lucas go to Hamilton and we just don't follow them? No. What if Bill dies? What if Gowan's gone? What if Lee and Rosemary's business? What if she's like, you know what? I want to act again. We're going to LA. Get rid of everybody.
Keep one.
We bring May. We bring in a whole new cast of people that come to Hope Springs and fall in love with Hope Valley, and they want to stay there. And we have a whole new because here's the thing. There's too many characters on the show for me to care about most of them. So why try? Let's get rid of all of them, bring in a few people, focus in on them. Let's get a new love story. Let's move past Elizabeth and Lucas and Nathan, all that, and let's just start from scratch. If this show is going to continue, I almost need that to happen. I need I need God to do a new, fresh work in Hope Valley, and I believe that He is. I believe that He can, and that's where I'm at. Jax, is that too crazy?
Yes.
I mean, I was getting kind of. I was feeling things in my spirit when you were saying it, because then I thought you were going to be like, and I should star in it.
Of course.
But that's what.
Of course, you should start on it.
I do legitimately hear what you're saying, though, about breathing fresh air into Hope Valley. And like, if I would be interested to see, like you were saying, where Minnie and Joseph go, where things happen there, and maybe starting, a different journey.
We're 10 seasons in, and I just think we've done it. We've done it, and
we did it in like season 1.
Sheila just said, Brand, they're already filming season 11 with the old folks.
Well, also, I could have told you from
That's
all of my years in Sunday school that God doesn't do new works in hell.
You actually don't want to know what I know about hell? Can I tell you this?
What? Please.
They don't serve breakfast.
They don't serve breakfast?
They don't serve breakfast in hell.
Oh.
Captain Crunch?
Waving
farewell.
It's unbelievable. So when the big one finds you,
yeah,
let this song remind you.
Yeah, what?
They don't serve breakfast.
That's exactly right. Shout out to the OG Newsboys.
That's right.
None of this new stuff.
None of this new stuff. None of this new thing.
The old boys, not the Newsboys.
My valley is just thinking about whatever you guys were just talking about. I like the idea of this show continuing. Like, just end it. Like, finish it. It's the horse is down. Finish it. All 4 ankles are broken. Like, the horse will never race again or walk again.
Oh,
like, just shoot it.
What?
It's down. It's down.
You went too much into this.
It's done.
Imagery.
It is what it is, guys.
There are
season 10 of When Calls the Heart. And we're talking about going back to Hamilton. I'm going to cry, okay?
If we go back to Hamilton, we'll stop.
Yeah, full stop. Full stop.
We'll let a new crew. We'll bring in a new crew.
We'll bring in a new crew. That's right.
They'll do it.
Yeah. Well, whatever. We'll
Jax,
let Chat GPT do it.
Yeah, they'll do it.
Yeah.
Little Deckers maybe. Can
Little
cover.
Deckers can come and do it. We're not going to do it.
I can't. I won't. No.
Did we get a? It's time for what's called my heart is where people email.
Sure
Email hello at
DuckDogHomework.com. I told you we were getting some late August, early September.
That was interesting for last week. I can't imagine it happening again.
And we got another one from September 2nd.
Where were these
2022?
emails?
I don't know. Which is wild. That's my anniversary. So happy anniversary last year.
It's almost a year ago.
Crazy. This is from Julia Bowman. Julia Bowman. She says, Dear Jax, Bran, and Dan, after weeks of mentally composing this email in my head, I'm finally writing it. The ADHD perfectionist struggle is real. Am I right? You get her, right?
Yep.
Anyway, I'm out here just trying to find my place in this world, and I wanted to let y'all know how much I appreciate you diving in and going deep into this crazy, or rather not so crazy town of Hope Valley. Haha, it brings me joy every week to listen to you, along with your other episodes as well. Panda, I miss you, buddy, but I'm proud of you for doing what it takes to take care of you and your family.
Wow.
Your hot takes were the best.
That's really sweet.
Great. Yeah. We've got him here. We could, nope. All right. Jack, so glad you could join the boys for the show. And the next time you're at the Chop House with Ted, make sure to have him buy you a pina colada to go with your steak. They make them with Breyer's vanilla ice cream, and it is the bomb.
What?
I didn't know this.
Where's this?
At Hall's Chop House.
Chop House.
They make what?
Pina coladas with Breyer's vanilla ice cream. So yummy. Also, since you live in NYC, if you haven't ever been, please promise me you'll go and get dessert at Max Brenner's. You ever heard?
I love Max Brenner's.
Okay, good.
So much.
And my absolute favorite place to eat in the city while I'm there. Brandon, Dan,
yes.
Thanks for continuing to chug away at watching these. I started listening to them earlier this year while I was watching season 9, and I have to say, listening to y'all review season 1 while watching 9 was quite interesting. There were definitely a few full circle moments where I was wondering, I wonder what the boys will be saying about this. So I'm looking forward to that coming up. Also,
the season 9's already. I hope she liked it.
Yeah, me too. Does it make me a terrible person that I gleefully binged your reviews of season 1 just because I couldn't wait to get to season 2 to hear Dan rant about how terrible it all was? It does not make you a terrible person. It makes me terrible for continuing to watch it. I don't know. Finally, as to what's calling my heart these days.
Yes. It's
touring lighthouses up on Lake Michigan. You know, today, the day we're recording this, is National Lighthouse Day. I learned that this morning, if you can believe it.
Wonderful.
And Mariah didn't have a lighthouse.
No.
I want to be clear about that. I moved up to the Chicagoland area about a year ago and learned this past spring there is something called the Lake Michigan Circle Tour that you can go do that has 105 lighthouses listed on the map tour.
That's a lot of lighthouses.
That's a lot of lighthouses, none of them Mariah's. So I've been checking them off a few at a time and having a blast doing so. There's even a couple in Racine, Wisconsin. So I had to stop and get some Kringle. Thanks for all y'all do. All the bits, the random improv, the 90 CCM references, and everything in between has brought joy to my life in what has been a pretty hard season these past few years. I really appreciate it much with all my heart. Julia Bowman. P.S. Dan, as someone who grew up in Knoxville, your impression of the whole Knoxville, Pigeon Forge, Dollywood region this past week, season 8, episode 3, was fantastic. So hilariously spot on. I know Panda's there currently, but how do you stay at the Dollywood Resort and not go to Dollywood? So confused. Signing off now with the world's longest email. Merry Christmas. Julia Bowman.
That was beautiful.
It was
That
beautiful.
was great, Julia.
I'll have to ask Panda about that.
I can't wait for next week.
That's right.
Because surely next week will be in 2023.
That's right. Yeah, we will, for sure. For sure we'll be there next week.
For sure. 100%.
There's no way people were listening to those 2 seasons and heard us plead for emails,
right?
And then we didn't read them. There's no way that we pled for emails, like please, and then we just didn't read them for a year.
That'd be dumb.
That would be inconsiderate at best. Yeah.
Well, congratulations to us. Congratulations to you and everyone you know. We'll be back next week with another one. Stay tuned tomorrow for another episode of Fast Fridays. Until then, may we the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmarks of Brable Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea.
What?
For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.